Man, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that right there just gave me the, how does Mr. Zah say? The happy to see ya, kid. Matter of fact, I think I need to change my underwear. So some of you have no idea. They're like, why are you showing this? Like, some of you right off the bat are like, if you're like anything like me, you're like, oh, hell yes. I so miss that. That is like, if you're a gearhead, motorhead, if you know, like I said, know anything about that right there that I just showed, that little video clip, then you know what I'm talking about. I know Lights Out, and I know Just Joe. Just Joe does a lot of street bike riding. I believe he's more the street bike guy, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's him. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I know Just Joe used to race. I mean, Just Joe, Nitro, or Lights Out, do racing. I never did the racing thing, although what you seen right there, that's the Muggy Maniac. I used to do that. That's not me, but that's what I used to do. I was more the desert guy. Okay, for those of you that know about dirt bikes, Glen Helen, well-known place in Southern California. They still do races there, outdoors. They did for the outdoors runs through there. One of the venues. I believe they still do one of the outdoor races there too. They do a lot of them all across the United States, but Glen Helen's a big one. I'm about an hour from there. That video clip you're watching is somewhere back up in there. I used to go riding back up there because I used to live out over in that area. So I did a lot of desert riding. I didn't do much of the racing, never got into it. You know, again, racing is real expensive. You know, if you're a privateer and the whole thing, it's not cheap. But anyway, I used to do a lot of that. I mean, that is a KX old school. I don't remember what year that was. 90, 91? KX 500. One of the meanest, baddest, freaking beast two-strokes ever created to man. Okay? 500, 490, but 500 cc. So, for those of you to get an understanding that maybe never rode dirt bikes or not into it, some guys rode quads. I kind of get quads guys that rode quads, like a friend of mine that had the Quadzillas and all those, you know, Banshees and shit like that. I would spank their ass. Not on a 500, on my 250. I had a 19, the last one I had was a 1991 Yamaha YZ50, ported, polished, Pro Circuit pipe on it. I mean, the thing had the works. The thing was a badass, okay? I love that bike. It was the first year, and I believe the only year Yamaha made anodized red forks for that one. They made a WR, which had the blue anodized forks, and that was the first year, I believe 91. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time. 91 was the first year they inverted the forks. They flipped them upside down instead of having them the way they used to be with the booties on them and everything. They inverted the forks. That was the first year, I believe, 91. But anyway, the KX 500 was a sick-ass bike. Guys that I rode with rode, 250s and 500s. I didn't personally own one, but my brother did. And his was a CR5 and not a KX. I don't know. I've never been a Kawasaki guy. I couldn't see there. And don't get me wrong, Kawasaki's are badass. Jeff Ford won many outdoor championships, 500 championships with the KX 500. Okay? Now, I never rode one, but as you're looking at them, I rode the CR500, and they're pretty much the same. A few different aspects. Also, obviously, one's Honda, one's Kawasaki. But both of the 500s, those are the two nastiest, baddest freaking two-strokes ever made. I didn't really get too much into the four-strokes, although I rode the old school ones. I rode. My brother also had a Honda XR 450, and I rode the big badass XR 650. Freaking thing had a Terraflex on it, had knobbies like that. I swear, if you got behind that thing, when you got on it, it would pull gophers, tree stumps, and boulders and shit out of the ground and throw them at you. That thing was no joke. It was so much compression because it's a 650 four-stroke. It has a compression release. Those big bikes, it has a little lever you pull in before you kickstart it, before you start it. It relieves the pressure. Otherwise, you'll break your ankle, man. It'll throw you over the handlebars. Even on my brother's CR500, he's like, because the first time I rode it, I rode 125s. Was my first was a 1980. 88, 87, 88, YZ 125. That thing also, I got a ported, polished pipe. My shit was always, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I look at it now. Even when I rode dirt bikes, my shit was next level. I wasn't riding no stock shit. My shit was ported, polished, pipe, reeds, trick ignition, the whole works, man. I wasn't riding stock shit very long. And I never, I never really thought about that back then. I never did. All our shit was always like factory shit, man. Not from the factory, but you know what I mean? We had friends and family members that did, I remember the guy's named Selby out in where I live, he's an hour from me. Selby was his name. He was the one that did the motor work. Man, badass. 125, and then eventually I graduated to, the 250. But when I rode a 500, man, there was nothing like it. If you guys have ever rode one, or if you haven't, it's a monster. It's just, if you point one of those in the wrong direction and grab a handful of throttle, it lights out. It lights out. That's a joke. But you know what I'm saying? You're in trouble. Serious. And I rode trails, so you had to be careful because you're riding up sides of mountains, and you're not careful, you might launch off the side of that mountain. You're dead. Okay. But anyway, I never rode the KX. They're badass. I rode the CR. My brother said if you can start it, if you can kickstart it, you can ride it. And that bitch was hard to kickstart because it has a lot of compression. It's a 500 cc. It's a big, giant piston. It's like 10 or 12 50 max 5th scale motors taped together. To kind of give you an idea. So anyway, this video isn't about motocross and all that. I just want to show you guys, because that's what the Muggy Maniac is, man. I'm a freaking gearhead. I'm thinking of looking at buying a 500. Not a Kawasaki. I don't know. Kawasaki, I don't care about the green. Just that power. That 5. And I've rode 450s and the new 4-strokes. And they're water cooled, but they just aren't the same as a 2-stroke. My friends have quads and big-ass quads. Man, with that 500, even a 250, I spank Banshees and Quadzillas. I smoke them. Okay, mostly where I ride, because unless you're on a wide open flat straightaway, obviously a Banshee or a 450 Raptor or those other quads, badass quads, is obviously got more power than a 250. But if we're riding through trails like that shit right there, and we're riding, I used to ride with guys like that, those freaking quads, they're all over the place. They're getting fucking bucked around. Me, I'm not. I'm hugging the tank with my with the inside of my thighs, leaning back, and I'm just like that guy. Wah! I'm gone. Peace. See ya. I spank guys all the time riding in the desert. Now, like I said, on a straight drag flat, they would obviously get me because their bikes are bigger than mine, as far as quads. Now 500, it don't matter. 500 will smoke one. It's just a nasty bike. I talked to guys that have rode 450s and they're like, nah, I'm cool on that 500, man. That's too much. Too much, man. I love that shit, man. Wow, man, if you watch that video, that guy's just, he's brapping. That's real brapping right there. So that's where I come from. That's what I used to do. I thought about getting another one, getting back into dirt bike. But these 500s and these old 2-strokes, they're collectible now. All of a sudden, it blew up. They're doing races and throwback races and all this stuff. I think they're coming back. I don't know. They said that a lot of the manufacturers, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Honda, were going to do reproductions of those bikes. Some of the 250 2-strokes, man. But they're probably going to charge. I mean, back when I got mine, back in '91, it was around $4,000. Now, they're about 3 times. They're paying $10,000 for a dirt bike. For a 450 or whatever now. Man, but that just gets me jacked, man. I want to go riding right now. Firing up one of these, that ain't nothing. Firing up a modified .32 or a Novarossi 28 or a Pico, that ain't shit. That, even 5th scale, even a 90 cc, big deal. I'm talking 500 cc's, baby. Sprapping some ass. That shit gets me jacked. And I know Lights Out and Just Joe, man, they're like, hell yeah. And I rode street bikes too. I've been about 140 miles an hour on a street bike, and it's crazy. That was way too much for me. That was more than enough. But it's different. When you're riding in the desert like that, me and my brother got good at riding together, where we could ride that shit like you've seen this guy riding. Me and my brother would ride those trails like that, tight trails, side by side, because we knew each other, how our styles were. One time, I remember flying through some trails, side by side, we touched bars, and I almost died. This is crazy, man. But, man, I love that stuff, man. I just have a passion, man. That's why I really did. I exceeded fast, and I learned quick, and I picked it up quick, in nitro. Because it's just, this comes natural to me. Taking apart motors, even when I'm getting into the modifications and stuff, which I've kind of touched on a little bit. Not a problem, man. I just need to do more homework and make sure I'm doing it right. Pay attention. Take notes like everybody else, tell everybody else. Take your notes, man. We're going to do some teaching and preaching. I preach and I teach. My preaching is my teaching, okay? So, shout out where shout outs are due. Shout out again to my brother Rajja. I'm going to kind of piggyback a little bit off of what Rajja went on in fuel. That's why I've got this beautiful Italian piece of machinery that I just pulled apart. Matter of fact, this is my stock. And I told you guys, I've got a crank, found a crank. It's 65 bucks. I had a hard time shelling out that much. I almost was going to just say fuck it and spend another 100 and some change and get a brand new one. But this one's seasoned. It's got like 3 gallons through it now. It's man, this thing is perfect. And it's stock. It's my little mess around stocker. When you guys get your stocks, 28.8s to around 2 gallons, you'll see what I mean. Balls on these things are hanging low. This thing is a badass little stalker. It's perfect. But compared to this modified beast, it's not even in the same book. So they're saying motors, just obviously that one's modified. Even this, compared to the Pico, oh hell no. Oh yeah, by the way, see the Pico where it's at? We'll get to that in a minute too. We'll change the plan. So anyway, it's hotter than snot out today. I don't know if I'm going to get any breath, but I still got a couple things I need to do. You know, and it's like 90 degrees, feels like 100 because the damn humidity in Southern California is about almost 50%, and that's 30% higher than normal. I've been in Texas, I've been in Florida, been in Missouri, been in the South. This ain't shit, but still doesn't negate the fact that it sucks ass. I hate humid weather. I'd rather live in hot, dry, 110. You know, I mean, not really. I mean, I would hate that too, but it's better than humidity. Humidity sucks nuts. I hate humidity. You know, that's what I couldn't stand when I was in Texas. People that are natives of Texas would tell me, "Oh, you get used to it." Get used to what? Sweat dripping down the crack of my ass? If you get used to sweat dripping down the crack of your ass, excuse me, Mr. Texan, but you have huge issues. You need to go get some therapy for that shit. What do you mean you get used to sweat dripping down the crack of your ass? The hell you do. I don't. That's why Texas was great. I loved it. I lived there for a while, but it just came to a point where, you know what? I'm good. I got to go back to Southern California. I'm a city slicker, just like me and Just Joe talked to like an hour or two yesterday, and me and 1/5 talked the other day for an hour. Me and, Lights Out, Lights Out, we talk. I mean, there's about a half a dozen guys right now, about 6 solid guys that I know are in it to win it. They're thinking next level. They ain't messing around with scrub whips and scrub shit. They've paid their dues. They're ready to move on, man. They're like, you know what, let's go next level. Let's get some Technos and some Mugans and some, get some hot bodies even, and let's get some race kits. Let's get some serious motors, and let's not even play around. Let's gain our experience, gain our, get our stripes, and move into mod. Let's go next level. Because I'm going next level. I've been going next level, and I'm going another level. I'm not waiting for nobody. I'm going to help people. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to pull people up to get them to my level. But, you got to pay your dues. You got to do your homework. You got to pay attention. You got to, the Muggy Maniac's not going to steer you wrong. There's numerous guys, like I say all the time, that are constantly sending me emails and messengering me and Facebooking me saying, man, I appreciate what you're doing, Muggy, man. You helped me out so much. Shout out to this guy too, man. Me and him, we butted heads. We went through our little thing. It's all water under the bridge, man. I want to help this guy. I already told him that I won't ever deny you help, because I know he really wants to get it. Yeah, he got a little confused. Yeah, he got a little messed up. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody screws up. But he manned up to his shit, okay? And he was a man about it. And I'm talking about Nitro Bird. Shout out to Nitro Bird, man. This guy, go check out his channel, people. Give him some love. Give him some props. Give him some subs. Even if you don't really, he might be a little, little unorthodox with the way he does stuff. But come on, man. This guy is doing what he got to do. This guy's got a passion, a heart. He wants this. And Nitro Bird, if I ever discourage you in any way, I got mad love for you. We cool, man. I won't ever, like I said, I'm not the guy, and I've seen them come on your channel and just give you thumbs up and say everything's cool, because they don't want you to hate, or not hate, they don't want to ruffle no feathers. And whether they realize it or not, you're not helping him, you're hurting him. I go on people's channels. Shout out to this other guy you don't even know. His name's Kawaii Man. Go check out Kawaii Man. That dude, he don't got the, all the top notch, but this guy's got some good shit. He knows what this guy's learning how to tune. He struggled a little bit, but he's got a Roma, man. That Roma's on point. Now that is the first Roma that I seen, .25 Novorossi Roma, that's on point. He has it in a road car. I forgot the kind of road car it is. That thing, it's got the cheese. That thing is ripping. So shout out to Kawaii, man. He needs to, step it up a little bit. But hey, he's doing what he's got to do, and at least he's doing the do. You guys know what I mean? You heard that expression, do the do. Got to do the do. And my boy, I just discovered one of my other boys, and I got mad love for you, Mr. Foss, at the Foss house. But I'm gonna call it how I see it. You know what we're talking about. So do what you got to do. Hook them kids up. Hook them kids with all that stuff, man. And you, Next level, bro. You got 2 solid whips that you need to put all your time into if you're smart. Now, whether you listen to me, it doesn't matter to me. You do what you want to do, because that's how Foss rolls. But just keep in mind that I will call you out, you know, and I will let it be known, and you already know that, you know, silly rabbit, Traxxas is bullshit, and Traxxas is for kids. So you need to give that shit to kids and, you know, step it up. Next level is not Traxxas, not HPI, not Red Cat, not Exceed, not Hyper, not even XTM. That's not next level. Next level, people, okay, let me say it again, is race kits, okay? Even if it's a Losi 4.0, 4.0, not a converted, 4.0 race kit. That's a start. Is it the creme de la creme? Top? No, it's old news. We won't get into that. That's old school. That's, you know, it's good, great for bashing, you know, whatever, but still, you know, it's a dying breed. If I were you and I had a 4.0, I would put that. I wouldn't even build that shit. I'd keep it in a box and tuck it away somewhere, because it will be worth money. I don't run too much discontinued shit, except the discontinued shit that I know, you know, that I get plenty of parts for. I can build another one of these NBX 5Rs, Mugans, 10 times over through A-Man. Right now I can order all the parts and build one, ground up, no problem. It's been like that, always. Now this thing, that's what I'm telling you, it was mentioned last couple videos, it's getting where, even though I have a lot of parts for it, where I'm almost ready to you know, maybe once a month type thing, you know. Special appearance by XTM Muggy of the Month. Because it's discontinued, man. There ain't parts all over the place for this thing, man. Okay? That, different story. It's old school. I'm not going to retire it. I don't need to, because this thing's brand new now. So, as soon as I put the chassis on it, and if I do decide to upgrade to the new Mugen shocks, this thing's money. I don't even know if I'll even want to get a buggy. I might just move on and get another truckie. They're going to be coming out with a new Techno, man. I might have to get one of those, the brand new Techno. NT 48.5, people. Or if I think it would be 4. I don't know how that's going to work. Because this is a 3, so it'll have to be 4. You know, which is what they would probably do, is switch all the stuff off of the 4 buggy, except build a brand new chassis for this one. And, you know, call it an NT4. You know, I don't know. If it's not a lot of drastic changes, you know, then I won't even bother with it. You know? The only reason I would get another Mugen MBX 8 truggy, I got a 7, I would get an 8, because there was a lot of change. Whole front end, width, internal gears, drivetrain, a lot. So I might get one of those. That's a sick, man. I told Fitzgill RC, hey, when you're ready to sell that thing, man, hook it up. I got a home for it right here. Welcome to my Mugen family. So anyway, shout out to those guys that are going next level. Even Don Foss got the Techno, man. There you go. Lights out. Got the NB 48.4. That's what I'm talking about. Just Joe is getting a Techno truck. This is a Techno crew, bro. By the way, just so you guys know, I am starting, as we speak, Facebook. You know how they have all those different sites. They have a Mugen channel that I'm already on there. They have Traxxas. I even get on the Traxxas one until they throw me off. Because you know me, I'd just be talking like Traxxas shit. And they ain't having it. They're like, hey, I have a problem with this. Well, I think one of them, he was like, what do you suggest, Traxxas people? And my comment was, basura. In Spanish, that's trash. Dump that thing. And they got all mad. What? And they kicked me off one, so I'm on another one. Yeah, I know. You're cold. You cold-blooded. The Muggy, you're a piece of work. That's right, I am. And I have no apologies for the way that I am. You guys know how I roll. You know? But I do give credit due where credit's due. So those guys, shout out, man. Guys going next level. Don Foss, lights out. 1/5 only, man. That guy's in my Mugen club, man. You know, I'd like to see some more guys get some Mugens. I think there was another guy that's getting another one. A little friend of mine that's been my subscriber that I don't hear a lot from. I think he's in Britain. This guy, he's going to be getting a Novarossi, I think the .21 Elites, 5 ports, getting one of those. You know, and he asked me, what do you recommend? And I said, hey, if you, for the money, man, 160 something or whatever and some change, that Elite's a good little .21 for a guy to get a good quality motor. And it's not the big motor, but at least the Novarossi, you know, and it's a good price. Just like the Palomas. That's why people got the Palomas, because it's a really killer deal. I mean, come on, you get Novarossi Italian motors, and it may not be the Reds, you know, type of, you know, creme de la creme type stuff, you know, but still, it's a Novarossi, you know. I mean, it's not going to be like one of these. I mean, I just got lucky and got this. I think I said, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if I did, let me correct myself. I think I said these are about 5. These are about, they got 4 and some change brand new. I think I said they were like 5. They're not that much. Those are the Diamond and the Corsicas and the some of the WR7s and stuff like that. And by the way, I hope lights out. You got that bearing issue. I guess you got that handled. Hey, shout out to you, bro, by that tire thing. I know I hooked you up on. I just maybe, I mean, because I have never done a factory ungluing. I never had to. Well, yeah, I did, but I'm not Proline. Proline must use concrete on their shit, because he was having a hell of a time getting them off. And I've had those same rims and tires that I glued with a gang of fucking dynamite glue, and that shit fucking is like cement too. And I heated them up 350 for about 20 minutes. Pop! Came right off. And I learned that from Mike B. Mike B did a video on it, which, you know, you guys know the guy that you guys have seen. That I, you know, this guy's getting more airtime on my channel. And, you know, I'm ramping him up, and he does what? He does video once a month. I mean, once every 5 months. He doesn't do a lot. You know, he's, I don't know, for whatever reason. You know, he seems like a cool guy. He's just hybrid. I'm not into, you know, socializing too much, you know. And I don't want people to take that wrong. Just because you do E-word doesn't mean, hey, I hate you. There's nothing that we can do for each other. You know? I mean, what are we going to do for each other? You're an E-word guy. You're an electric guy. You know? And I'm a nitro guy. We're in two different sports. And, well, you know, we can hang out in the background or somewhere. If you guys were local, that would be cool. And I have friends of mine that I hang out. I got tons of E-word guys that run Traxxas, and I give them shit all the time. But we don't go rapping together because, yeah, there's, you know, we don't wrench together because there's nothing that we can teach each other, really. You know? I'm working on motors and doing clutches and shit, and this guy's talking about ESCs and fucking lipos. I'm like, dude, you got me lost. Matter of fact, I forgot you got a lipo. You need to get your shit out of the cave. I can't have the lipos in here. Hell no. I got to get a sign that says no Traxxas, no E-words, no lipos. I mean, that's what I need to get one of those. But anyway, so shout out to those guys. Lights out. Good job on that video, man, letting people know. I'm just leery, and let us know if you have any issues with that. I'm worried about carburetor cleaner setting on rubber. I don't even use carburetor cleaner and let it set too long on my motors, which, if you know, motors have rubber pieces and bush and, you know, and things in the carburetor. When I do clean it with carburetor cleaner, I immediately get rid of that. I don't want that carburetor shit sitting on there, because you will fuck up plastics and shit. But if it's not going to harm the rubber, which you would know, cool. I would just be careful with that, you know. If you even put carburetor cleaner on plastic, it destroys it. It ruins it, you know. That'd be like cleaning your tires with carburetor cleaner, you know. Don't quote me on that, but that would seem that it would ruin the rubber. But anyway, if it works and it doesn't, shout out to you. You guys go check it out. Give Lights Out some subs. Give this guy some love. Give him some thumbs up. Okay? So, you know, I'm helping some people out, man. That's what it's about. You know, all that shit that just happened the last few days, that's all water under the bridge. Even, you know who, I have nothing against that guy. I'm moving on. You know what I mean? There's an old expression. You know, there's no sense of beating on a dead horse. Okay? Move on. So that's me, okay? Some will, some won't, so what? Next. That's how I've always been. That's how I roll. You got that? Did you guys catch that? Some will, some won't, so what? Next. Move on. So this is, I'm going to touch on my take. First of all, before we get into what I'm going to talk about, a little bit about a fuel. I'm not going to steal Raj's thunder. I'm just riding off his coattails. I think he made a lot of valid points. And I'm going to tell you anything that I should start my videos out from now on. I'm going to do the disclaimer. I like that, Raja. That's a good idea. So there's no, if and no problems. This is disclaimer means that this is what works for me. Okay, this is from my experience of me doing it the way I have been doing it. Doesn't mean it's the right way. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You do whatever the hell you want. I always tell you guys that. Don't even listen to me. If none of this, if you're an E-word guy, you might want to just go find another channel or tune into something else, because this is nitro only. This is gearhead shit. I mean, obviously, we're starting my video by watching a Kawasaki KX500 rip ass through the desert. Man, I can't stop thinking about that, man. I want to go riding right now. Man, I swear, you guys know how I always say I'm passionate about nitro? That's how I was for at least 6 years. Dirt bikes, man. Every day when I got off work, because I can go around the corner of my house, hop in the wash. I lived by a railroad track where you took it up to I could go all the way from Glen Helen in about 30 minutes from my house. I lived out towards that area. It was so cool. I'd come home from work. I'd see my bike looking all fresh after I just cleaned it, sitting sitting in the garage. My badass, 91 YZ250, freaking just sitting there with a shiny ass, fresh Michelin or Dunlop. I forgot what tires I was running. Tire on it. It was just calling me, man. I'd throw the fuel in there, the mixture, fire that shit up, put on my gear, and I'm out. I'd go riding every day when I got off work, man. I was into it a lot, and then, I got married, and I don't want to get in, but I might get back into it. So, but anyway, so Raja said, Bones. Bones is good, according to Raja. I don't know yet because I haven't used it, okay? Now, what he talked about, and, I'm sure you guys paid attention, is that Bones is good, cheap, doesn't do anything. He took the motor apart, showed you what it looks like after, 6 gallons on one motor. And, keep in mind, those are the FX motors that he ran it through. And he's running it through the reds. I like to see what the reds look like. Remember, and I made the comment also, too, all motors react, every single one. You can have 2 identical Novorossi 28.8 Rex Legends, pull them out of the box, okay? Break them in the same identical way. Those motors are going to have different attributes about them. They're not twins. They're not, maybe the guy that was doing your motor, was on point that day, and the guy that was doing my motor, was hungover. You know what I'm saying? They don't stamp these things for the most part through a machine. These are hand assembled, these guys are assembling these shit and working on these shit. Most of the shit, some of the parts, like the cooling fins, if you've ever seen them made, yeah. They don't hand making this. Some of this shit like this, yeah. But I'm talking about putting the bearings in, putting all these pieces on. Doing the port work to these, assembling the pistons. You know what I mean? Those are people doing it. So maybe one guy, he's on point that day, and another guy's like, fuck it, man. The boss is being a dick. And I know this shit because I work in manufacturing. You guys already told you that. So that's why I tell you guys, don't fly. Whatever you do, do not fly in airplanes. Take a bus, take a train, drive. I don't care. Freaking ride a motorcycle. I work in aerospace manufacturing. I make the landing gear of all the planes that fly in the air, most of them. We make parts to it. Not the whole thing, but parts to it. Not that I'm saying that they're bad, but trust me. I've seen how the shit's done. And I've been to the places where other guys do other shit. Okay? Don't fly. That's all I gotta tell you. So anyway, this is my 28.8. It's got about 3 gallons, which is, not a lot of fuel. But this thing, because when I broke my crank, if you guys don't know, this was the video that, Muggy, XTM Muggy over here, Fatso Pig, versus Rex Legend again. Many times, this exact motor, this is the stock one, okay? And this XTM went toe-to-toe. Most of the time, this motor kicked this thing's ass. Tore out gears, bent dog bones, stripped out rims. Bent shit, blew up, 2-speed everything. And this is a stock. That's what I'm telling you, man. Be careful with the RTRs. This thing's got a lot of upgrades to it. I don't care if it's an off now. I don't care if it's a, whatever that you said you made it bulletproof. You don't know until you put the shit in there And I'm not talking about breaking it in, and, you know, I'm talking when that Nova Rossi is ready to pin the throttle wide open and just do some serious getting it, you know, serious recreational shit, then you will see if your RTR can handle it. Or you will see gears getting stripped out, fucking dog bones being bent, fucking, you know, all that shit. Diff cups getting fucking snapped off like happened to this thing before. I mean, crazy shit. So, don't be surprised, alright? Like I said, this is my disclaimer. This is from my experience, okay? I've got over 3 gallons through this stock 28.8, and I've broken in modifieds, broken in stock, I ran modified round stocks, changed all different types of carburetors. I'm pretty well versed in the Nova Rossi 28.8. You know, when a guy said, don't run too rich, don't run too lean, he didn't pay attention. I said, yes, run really rich, but not to where the point you're choking the fucking thing. Excuse my language. If you're running your shit and you're breaking it in, you're running it rich, yeah, but it's gurgling when you're running it, that's way too fucking rich. I never said that. I said, yes, run it rich. I didn't say choke the bitch. Excuse my language. Look at lights out. You look at him running his, breaking it in. Perfect, man. He wasn't gurgling in it, choking it to death. You know, there's such a thing as running it too rich. You want to get it to run right, but at the same time, don't run it rich. Read between the lines. Maybe I need to be more paint by numbers. I thought that was pretty simple. You know? I'm starting my motors, even breaking them in, the Nova Rossi, at what the factory says. 3.5 turns out. Maybe 4, but no more than that. I usually do 3. And I'll probably lean it at least a 15 to 30 minute increment by the time I'm still breaking it in. But I'm not running it really, really, really fat like that. You're going to fucking shit up. You know what I mean? So, let me clarify that. Don't run it real rich. Don't run it real fat. Find the happy medium. Okay, run it rich, but not to the point where you're choking the thing. It's got to run. It's not running when it's gurgling. That's not running. That's choking your motor. That's way too rich. You know, I guess some people you just need to really take them by the hand and, you know, connect the dots with them. You know, but anyway. So, run it rich, not that rich. Don't lean it at all. You don't need to lean it. If it's running too rich, yes, you're going to lean it. Because it's running too rich. You got to run. It's got to run. It can't run when it's fucking choking. So anyway, Rajja pulled an FX, bones, ran 6 gallons or 10, whatever he wants to say. 10, let's just say 8 gallons for argument's sake. I know it was less than that. Through that. Okay, that's a .21. The things that I learned from Mr. Zah, Adam Drake, Ty Tessman's father, Gordy Tessman, Mike Croddick, you know, these are guys that have tons of experience. You know, Ryan Mayfield, Ryan Lutz, you know, Rick at R&B, or RB, I'm sorry. Rick at RB Mods, Lance, all those guys. That's some pretty big heavy hitters in 8-scale nitro. The names that I just mentioned, those are some big dogs right there. If you don't know who they are, go do YouTube and go do your homework, and you'll learn a lot from them. Trust me. So all these guys that I talked to and that I watched the videos, and you know. When you're racing, okay, take for instance Adam Drake. You're not pinning the throttle. You're not hitting RPMs that long. On the straightaways, that's it. Blip, blip, blip. Hit the jumps. Blip, blip. Whee! Let it off. Blip, 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 blip. Maybe a couple parts. Whee! Little short one. Blip, 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 blip. Me. Okay, when we're bashing, we're recreational. And keep in mind, these are bigger motors than .21s. Okay? And some of them are modded. We're no blip blip. We're we're screaming it. You guys get my point? We're ripping the throttle, pinning that throttle all the time. We need the lubrication. That's why I run higher lubricated. Not high, but I mean Byron's 3011. That's perfect. Racing guys, they like that 8% shit. Because they're not screaming too much. They don't need a lot of protection. And with that lower with the lower lubrication, they're able to lean it and get way more power. Lower lubrication, a little bit of leaning equals a .21 screaming its nutsack off. Okay? But if you're going to do that shit bashing, you're going to blow your shit up. You need protection. How many times has Mr. Zah said, and you've heard other guys say, and I tell you, you know, we want to protect our motors. Racing, if they blow the shit up, except for, you know, guys like Rajja, and even Rajja, he's got tons of motors, but guys that can't afford that, you know, they're not looking to blow it up, but at the same time, they're looking for more power. Guys like Adam, Jake, all these pros, they don't give a shit if they blow up a motor every time they race. They got a box of them, and they can yank out another one, and Adam Drake, in his case, that shit don't even need to be broke in. He's got probably a box of motors. He takes them everywhere, just in case him or Mayfield need one. Or not Mayfield, because Mayfield runs maximum, but just in case him, you know, in this case he needs one, or it's already motor bath, it's already ready to go. So he can just drop it in, run around a few laps during qualifying, he's good to go. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest reasons that he started doing the bath. His shit's ready to run, and that's why a lot of guys go through Adam. Because after he does that motor bath, you don't have to go through that long, rigorous part of braking with everybody hates that shit. I love it. I like seeing my motor, my hard-earned $200, $300 I like to see one of my children come alive and it be born and give birth to it. You seen the video I showed you? Because somebody said, oh, you never break in motors. The video was of this motor right here. And you see me breaking it in. And that thing, man, I was like another addition to my family. It was like another child was being born into my family. I'm sick like that. Some of us are. I think I'm sick more than anybody, you know. Because who would turn their room in a place where I lived with 4 other roommates? Okay? I don't even know if anybody's home right now. You know, I have 4 other roommates in a house. I got the master bedroom. I pay a nice chunk of the rent, you know. And I can turn my shit into more than 50% of it's nitro cave. That's a sick in the head person. So, but anyway, you know, I love seeing my shit come to life, giving birth to my children. That's why it hurts, man. When this thing broke, when the XTM Muggy finally said, you know what? I'm tired of this Nova Rossi 28.8 beating me down. You know what? I'm going to loosen one of my bolts over here on the frickin' that holds the you know, the set screws that hold the brake shoes in. I'm going to come undone and lodge right into your drive shaft, lock it up, and guess what? Snap that shit right off. I've never seen or heard, sure it's out there, let alone experienced, breaking the end of a crank of a motor. Look at that, right off. That shit hurt. That I almost cried when I seen that. I couldn't believe it. And I finally, thank God, I was able to find the crank. $65, A-Main carries it. It's funny because the .21 cranks, most of them, are the same size as the .28s. Which, by the way, this is a bigger crank than the third .32. I think I did a video comparing it. But okay, so here we go. This has 3 gallons to it. This has been pinned, the throttle screaming all day long. You guys following me so far? I hope I'm not confusing anybody. Okay? Racing, which Raj is talking about, it's different from when we're bashing. When I talked to John about this too, and that's what I was telling you, he's got around 8 to 10 gallons of 3011 Byrons through his modified TNS .28 Rex Legend and his TNS modified .32 that he's pounded, beat down, smacked around, jumped 50 feet, ran over, I mean, beat the hell out of. I mean, abused the motor. You've seen how he runs. Byrons 3011, right around 10 gallons, and that motors are still fresh as hell. I mean, ready to brap right now. Ready to drop, just fire it up right now. Probably the first time you would bump it, whang, fire right up. That's all I needed to know. Okay? And he's not the only one, like I said. I know other friends that have done that. And like I said, and then so John told me, John was like, you know, listen, Muggy, you got to remember, to each his own on the fuel. You want to run bones, you want to run nitrotane, whatever you want to run. Just make sure your fuel is 50% Castrol, 50% synthetic. Now remember, this is what works for me. That's what worked for Rajja. He did the disclaimer. You know, hey, I said I might try the bones, see if I can get some. See if my local hobby shop will order me a case of it or something. Try it out. You know, why not? You know, I trust Raj on his decisions, but everything's different. Don't just go jump into it, you know, oh wow, let me go try it, and the next thing you know, your 28.8 modified or stock or your Pico is running like shit. I'm not saying it is, but it can. I've ran VP fuel, and I love VP fuel, man. It's great fuel. Okay, great gas mileage. I ran it in my offline. I ran it in my OS's. 0.21s though, not big motors, but it loved it. Man, I got over an hour runtime on a tank of gas. Temperatures were like 150, screaming it all around, probably less. And I was like, man. But I tried it in my 28.8 Rex Legends, and I tried it in my Pico and my Reds, and I couldn't tune them. They ran like shit, no matter what I did, man. Chains, plugs, everything, pipes. Trust me, been there, done that. It sucked in those motors. They hated it. As soon as I went back to Byron's, man, they were good. And then I would run Byron's in the OS and the OFNA, no problem. So all I'm saying is that the reason I run the Byron's is because I've ran it in all the different motors, never any changes, never any tuning issues, never, you know. And like I said, whatever fuel you're running, if you have no issues and it's working for you, and you get it at a reasonable price, no need to change. I'm not the fuel whore. I'm not that guy that's going to go bounce around the fuel. Why? Like I said before, I don't need to fix it. It's not, look it. This is 3 gallons. And this motor, by the way, when I pulled it apart, it's been sitting here for almost a month now. There was no after run oil in it at all. Because I didn't need to, because I pulled the crank out of it. And even look at the crank with no after run oil. Look. Money. Look at that. Novarasi. See the number? Can you see that? 2015. I don't know what that is. That might be a part number or something. Look at that. Look at the inside. You want to see inside? Look. There's no deposits, man. With no after run oil. Just sitting out. And it had Byron's fuel on it, because I didn't really clean it. The piston, look. There's 3 gallons of Byron screaming. Keep in mind, I'm not just racing it. I'm pinning my throttle every time I run my motors. I'm screaming this bitch till the wheels fly off, till I, you know, I'm waiting for this shit to blow up. Because I've had one blow up on me. I'm still gun shy. Now let me tell you something. When you're pissing, this is what you want. This is what I learned. See these markings? See that gray area right there? The smaller the gray area is, okay, the richer you're running it. So which means obviously I run my motors rich, you can see. Okay, you got that? The smaller the top part that's gray, okay, I think it's pretty much from, you know, where those lines are, from the lines up, okay, from any part of the motor. The more of this gray area that you have from this hole, I would say, see where the connecting rod connects, that hole is, from that hole to the top, the grayer that area is, okay. And the smaller that area is, which means, you know, it's not, doesn't go down that far, you're right, that's, depending, is lean. Now, the richer you run it, the browner that area will be. Because sometimes that area, and you got to remember, this is the port. This is the port where it comes out. That's usually going to be clean. Port part's going to be clean. Okay? This is the side that gets colored. Okay? The exhaust port is what I was trying to say. As a matter of fact, no, wait a minute. I got that backwards, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it. I got to remember it's like a helmet. See that where it comes down the sleeve? That's that part that's where the back plate comes down on. So that's the back of the motor, right? So if you look at the back of the motor, that's the exhaust port. That's where your burn-off's coming. Okay, see that there? That's about normal. You want that top gray area a little bit gray. I mean that top part of the piston, you want that gray. If it's really dark, you're running too rich. If it's really, really light down even farther around the hole, you're running too lean. Carbon is normal buildup. You don't worry about carbon. Go watch Mike Croddick and another guy's videos that I watch. Carbon is good because if your motor goes to overheat, you want the carbon to burn off instead of your aluminum to peel off. That's not good. So it's good. You don't want tons of caked up carbon, but you want carbon buildup. That's perfect. That's enough carbon buildup right there. Okay? Because if I do overheat my motor for whatever reason, you know, summer's here and it's hot, the hot weather, that carbon's going to protect your aluminum from getting cracked, from coming off. Because this aluminum will come off. So that carbon gives it a nice protection. So I used to think the opposite. Oh man, look at that carbon. I need to clean that thing up shiny. Oh hell no you don't. You'll fuck your shit up, excuse my language. You want a little bit of carbon buildup. You don't want it, you know, that's a little rich. But you know, I run my motors rich anyway, so. See that part right there, the lighter part of that top of the piston? That's about, you know, something in between there. But it's okay if it's like that. Like I said, if it overheats, that will burn off before you chip your aluminum peels off. Okay, back plate, fine. Look at my sleeve, fine. Here, want to look in the motor? Look in the motor. There ain't nothing, no deposits in that baby. Okay, now keep in mind, like I said, this isn't little, you know, racing. That's what it is. You're not screaming R's all day long like we are when we're bashing. When we're bashing, we're recreational. We're screaming our shit all day long. So if I'm screaming my shit all day long, it's 100 degrees out. Guess what? I want my 11%. I don't give a shit. Now I know that bones, you can get it made up and whatever way you want it, I guess. But that's, you know, like I said, I don't need it unless Byron's. I told one guy, hey, if they raise Byron's the price, then, or if I can't get Byron's anymore, I quit. I'm selling everything I got. Muggy's done, shutting down shop. No, I'm just kidding. He started laughing. He said, yeah, right. No, I obviously have to change fuel and deal with it. But I don't. $35 a gallon at my hobby shop, I'm cool. I gave you guys the fucking thing, that guy, the company, it's only in quarts, but $14 a quart, a couple dollars to deliver it, 11 Byrons, you know, why, you know, but like I said, whatever your wallet affords and whatever floats your boat, this is just what works for me and what I learned and how I roll. Facts, knowledge of what I'm talking about. It's not ignorance. There's nothing ignorant about this. So I just kind of wanted to give you a different perspective of what Rajja, that's working on the FXs and the reds and whatever he's using, and it's cheap. It's cheaper fuel. Man, his shit's running on point too. I mean, as far as the reds, that reds is getting that shit. That shit's freaking humming, and it's running the bones. You know, I like to see after he runs more bones to it. I want to see what that motor looks like, because like I said, all these motors react different to different fuel. I ran all the fuel there is. Not all of it, but I ran a lot of fuel. VP, O'Donnell's, Byron's. Frickin' I even ran Traxxas back in the day. You know, I've ran frickin' Nitrotane. You know, there's a lot of shit out there. But Byron's, I've just the most consistent fuel. I can run it at any single motor. It doesn't matter if it's Italian. Doesn't matter if it's 21, 28. Doesn't matter if I raise. Doesn't matter if I bash. It's just consistent. That's why John uses it. He doesn't use anything but Byron's, man. That's why the guy stocked up, just in case he couldn't get it. The guy's got pallets of it. If I need Byron's, if you guys need Byron's, ask John. Hey, if I ever run out of Byron's, I'll hit him up. John will sell me a case. I know he will. Or maybe he won't. Because I heard from last time I talked to my brothers, Ray at Track Days is out of it. So he was kind of, that's why he was hitting me up about what fuel and looking at, you know, the bones and shit. And I told him, hey, the bones is great. You know, if you're racing, it's good on the 21s. From what I've seen, Rogers got approved. How does that add up in bashing? You know, I don't know. But from when I talked to John, John says, remember, hey, as long as it's 50% Castro, 50% synthetic, long as it's got a high enough lubrication on it. I don't run 8%. I don't run 9%. I run nothing less than 11. Matter of fact, I put additive in my shit that I got from Lance at RC Renew. If you guys want to get some of this shit out, I don't know what the part number is, but this is some killer shit. It's nitro fuel lubrication. It's an additive. This shit is the bomb, man. I put this shit in my fuel, you know, to lubricate my fuel, and I put marble mystery oil in it. That's my little secret. There, I told you. There is no secrets in nitro. I don't believe in hiding shit from nobody. We should share all of our shit with everybody, man. And I'm not hiding nothing from nobody. What do you guys want to know anything? I'll tell you everything the buggy does. That's why my shit wraps. That's why my shit lays down. And what I mean by lay down is I mean it lays down like high notes. Front end pulls up. Lay down is an expression for the total package of what your vehicle's doing. Lays down when you're brapping it and it settles down under 10 seconds or whatever. Sometimes, you know, depending on the motor, settles down right away, comes back down to a nice idle. Okay, you let it sit there for about 10 seconds or whatever, and then hit it, a little bit of white smoke, and it gets busy, hits the high note, screams, doesn't sputter, doesn't, you know. That's what your shit laying down means. It doesn't mean your fucking idol lays down. I think some people just don't know a lot of the terminology. Not like us gearheads, you know. That's what I'm saying. Us gearheads, we're a different breed, even from guys that are in nitro right now. And I know you guys that relate, and there's a handful of you that I talk to all the time. You guys are gearheads. John's a gearhead, okay? He's got quads, ATVs, motor, wrenches. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people that, you know, aren't mechanically back inclined. I'm not talking putting together houses. I'm not talking of building a swimming pool. That's different. I'm talking mechanically inclined. Wrenches, turning them, building motors, tearing apart motors, you know, polishing shit, grinding metals, welding shit, drilling out shit. That's what I do, man. I love that shit. There's a buddy of mine, a lot of my brothers I've talked to that are mechanics and shit. We love that shit. Elite RC, even Rajja, he knows. Rajja knows what I'm talking about. That's why he likes wrenching on his shit, man. Okay? So, I mean, that's why, you know, I'm passionate about this, man, because I like wrenching, man. And I know I like to see my shit get down. So anyway, we're going to throw... did I mention this yet? You guys have been looking at this like, what's going on, Muggy? Listen, the .21 is on point. It's good. I ran into another issue I found out. Check your flywheels. And a lot of times that will be a lot of the right reason that you're having bump box issues. Flywheels, there's anywhere from a 32 millimeter diameter flywheel up to a 38. I've got all different ones. I didn't realize this is a 32. And I was wondering a couple times where I was struggling when I was bumping it. I really had to push down hard. And it was almost kind of like I was grinding my wheel because it wasn't hitting all the way. You know, and I'm like, what the hell? So I measured it, 32 millimeter, this damn Reds. So I'm either going to have to change the mounts, or I might not even mounts to go that low. I might have to get some different ones. Okay, so anyway, but it ran. It runs good. But you know what? I'm like, you know what? I want to spice it up a little bit. You know, these .21s, you know, they're all right. And this one, you know, I've wrapped it a few times, and it's good. I'm no hurry. It's not going nowhere. And another thing is, too, I'm deciding I might get that modded. You know, I don't know, the stock motors of any kind just don't do nothing for me too much anymore. I need to run modifieds. I need to run next level. Stocks work for about 1 or 2 runs, and then I'm like bored already. I need my shit to like I need like crazy RPMs, like modified shit. So I haven't ran this motor in here since I first broke it in. We're going to run the Pico P3, okay, modified by Rick at RB Mods with the 41032, okay. And I'm going to throw the Pico pipe because the Pico pipe likes the Pico motor. This is a good little combo right here. This is a Pico 20, what is it, a 2120? Something like that, 2120 EFRA. I think you can get this total. When I got it without the header. But you can get the total package $100. You know, I mean, most quality Italian headers like these, you know, Picos, Reds, Novarasis, Works, they're going to cost you about $100 or more. But anyway, we're going to throw that on there. We're gonna run we'll run a 15. See what that does. It probably will still. I don't know if it'll even pull the front end up kind of high. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to a 14 because I usually run 14s on my mods. But it's a buggy, so it's got shorter wheelbase. We'll see what happens. The last time I ran it, this motor wasn't even broken in. This motor is like you guys seen it last time in the Techno. This thing is just filthy, nasty, like just. It's an ugly motor. And I don't mean ugly like ugly. I mean this thing is just lethal right now. This 28.8 or 28.7 P3 Pico is just nasty. This thing is like, man. You guys seen it in the Techno. I don't know what's gonna happen here. I'm not worried because I know this thing can handle. But it's never had. It had this when it was barely broken in, and I didn't even run it that hard. The only other motor I've ran in here big is the 28.8 Rex Legend. I ran in here and it was crazy. It was all over the place like a little Tasmanian devil. Freaking spinning like a top and shit. So we're going to see what this modified Pico does inside the Mugen MBX. So it'll be the MBX, okay. We'll see if the MBX can handle a modified Pico .28. This will be the biggest test this thing has had. I mean, we're gonna run it hard, and I changed the diff for it because I knew I needed to. So I'm running 60 in the front, 60K in the rear, 125 in the middle. So we'll see what happens, you know. But the thing is, like, too, even with those thick diff oils, with modified motors, you guys got to keep in mind, you're going to have to keep an eye and change it periodically, not like normal, because these modified motors are just putting a lot of stress on these diffs and just the RPMs and the power. So you're gonna liquefy your diffs a lot quicker than normal. So that's just a little side note. Keep an eye on them. Normally on a stock motor with 100K in the middle, 50 on the front, 50 in the rear, man, you'll go through probably a gallon or two before you need to change them. Now, when you're running mods, well, I would say maybe on a stock, yeah, at least a couple gallons, you know, that you can run that thick of weight without having to change it. Now, on mods, different. You want to at least check it every gallon. I've changed it sometime sooner, depending on how much I run it. So anyway, so that's my take. Whatever you want to do on the fuel, that's what it looks like when you know. Remember, we're screaming, you know, racing different. Not to take away anything Rajja, everything Rajja said was valid, on point, 100% facts. Okay, and he proved it. Took his motor apart. It's just I want to give guys a different insight because I had guys ask me about it, you know, because some of us don't race. Okay, what in terms does that do to a guy that's pinning his throttle with a 28.8 or a .32 LRP? Okay, screaming that bitch all day long. Okay, I hope that Bones has at least 11% lubrication. And it has the additives. 50% Castrol, 50% synthetic. That's what Mr. Zah told me, and you know, I didn't know that at the time. This was a long time ago, but you know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to share that with you. Got some food for thought. There's another hour of your time. You guys can marinate on that. So we got to change the Ackerman. I have a titanium Ackerman that I'm going to put in because this one here, it's just worn. It's time. It's the original one that came in it. So I have this one here that I'm going to put on. Man, these titanium's like nothing. It's like plastics. But anyway, we're going to put that on there. It actually matches the titanium braces that I already have on it. But anyway, we're going to rock this thing, I don't know, in the next couple days. I got to go up to the hobby shop, grab some shit. So I'm going to still be doing some wrenching. I'll try to get you guys, I know that one video was a little teaser, and I'm like, you know what? The 21's cool. That thing's ripping and everything, but I was already bored, and I only ran it a couple times. You know? And it's because it rips. You guys seen it. And I know that thing will smash. And wide open, man, that thing will hit some high notes. But just the power and the torque, man, it's not even the same as a stock 28.8 Rex Legend or any stock bigger motor. So I'm like, you know what? Screw that. Haven't done it in a while. We're going to go big. Go big or go home. We're going to run a modified Pico P3 in the Mugen. We're going to rip this shit. We're going to see what happens. Alright, people, so that's all I got. Make sure you're not running your shit. Put your piston bottom dead center. Put some muggy juice on it. Alright, people, peace. I will catch you guys on the next one.